Hi guys, in this video we're going to look into how to add our own images to Substance Painter here. So how we can add our own things to the shelf down the bottom. So you might want to put maybe like a decal on or something that doesn't exist within Photoshop, within Substance Painter. Okay, so if I click this little button here, I can import my own resources. So if I click Add Resource here, I can then scroll and find this one here. So I've found this image online, and I want to add this to Substance Painter. Okay, it might be something I painted myself in Photoshop or something like that I want to use. If I click Open there, I can now add this in. I then need to define this. So what should I define this as? I am actually going to define this as if I define it as a texture, it's going to come in as the raw image. If I define it as an alpha, it's like a black and white image. I'm going to show you texture because this is going to be the simplest way for this to work. I'm then going to import it to the shelf so that it's always going to be here. If I click import, there we go, it's now imported that there. So what I can do now is add a new layer, and I can drag this new thing here into my color. And what this is going to do, put it on there. Okay, I'm not sure what this is, let's just deny that. So now I've got this image here, and you can see that it's placed it on. So I can now click this and take it down. You'll notice that it's just repeating across my whole model. So I can change that up here. So tiling repeat on my properties. If I change that to none, I've now just got this here, so I can start to move this into the main face. You just need to scale it down a little bit more. I am holding shift here to get this working, and I can then place that on there. Okay, super, so I've got my own image on there. If we do the same thing again, but this time let's do an alpha, so add images, cast sticker, open it again. This time we'll define it as an alpha, and import to shelf, import there. What this is going to let me do now is if I create a new fill layer, and let's make this one red, and let's add a mask to this. I can then choose my brush, and I should be able to double click this, and this should now be using this image on here. If I open this up, make it a bit bigger, just lagging a little bit. There we go, if I click there, okay, I've now got the inverse of that happening. So you can see everywhere it's black, it is not showing through, everywhere it is white, it is showing through. So what I could do with that image is I could actually invert it, and then that would give me the red stamp there of that. I don't think I can do that within Substance Painter itself. So it's not going to let me do that. I would have to manually do that. So you can see here where it's black, that's like the lines. So if I went into Photoshop and inverted it so the background was black and those lines were white, I could then click on here and stamp it on, which would give us the lines rather than that square. So it would just invert itself there, because all the black parts you can see are just not showing through there. Okay, so that's the difference between a texture and an alpha there. But that's how you could bring images in. So I could maybe find a picture of an eye or an iris, and then I could import that and place that on here, which is super useful. Okay, so in this video we've looked at importing our own images and using them. So that might be stuff that you paint in Photoshop to create your own alphas. Obviously there's tons of alphas built in here, but this will allow you to create your own specific ones and personalize your models a little bit more. Okay, thank you very much.